it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me. Sing it one and all. Join in the chorus. North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
How about that, Shin Boners? The girls have come from behind to deliver another victory in the preliminary final, sending us through to the big dance for the third consecutive year. And we'll be again playing the Brisbane Lions next Saturday night, Icon Park, the place to be as we are through to the grand final. Chief, welcome. Big pod today. Lots to unpack after the most competitive game that we've seen thus far in season 2025 against the Dees. We'll start with your biggest takeaway, which is...
Well, that was the best game of AFLW ever, in my opinion, and a lot of neutrals' opinions as well. And my other big takeaway is you can get on top of us, but we're always going to fight, never give up and come out on top.
Yeah, well, before I get to mine, just on that, I was very impressed, obviously, watching the coverage at three-quarter time, how calm Darren Crocker was, because we weren't. We watched the game together, and lots of stress. I mean...
I tell you what, just for the peel back the curtain, every time we kicked a goal, there was a lot of energy in the lounge room and very passionate high fives flying around everywhere.
Wasn't there?
And we landed them all, no black eyes.
Yeah.
Landed them all. But yeah, it was a bit. It's the most stressed I've been since the grand final that we lost. Yeah. And we're up by 5 at three-quarter time. And yeah, so it was well done to Melbourne, but even bigger pat on the back to our girls that got the job done, and it would have been easy to wilt. 3 goals down, they had all the momentum. They flogged Hawthorn the week before. They were up and about. They couldn't have been a more perfect start for Melbourne. They won the first 4 or 5 centre clearances. We didn't get a look in.
Well, they didn't flog Hawthorn, so I don't know what you're on about there. That was Carlton, but
sorry, yeah,
they did have a tight win against Adelaide in what I said was one of the better AFLW games, so I agree with your point. I think that was the best game I've seen. 2 high-quality sides, and as predicted, Melbourne gave us the biggest shake so far. But my biggest takeaway is that Jazzy Garner has further solidified herself as the greatest of all time. Another huge performance when the game was there to be won. Who lifted? Jazzy did, and an incredible goal to give us that breathing space, 8-point lead. And I don't know about you, but once it got to that, I felt a level of comfortability that the girls would get it home from there.
Comfortability?
Is that not a word?
I don't know. It's a good one. It's either not a word and you've made it up, or it's a good word. Either way, I'll accept it. Yeah, they had to then try and take the game on, because they went very safe early, playing wide and hitting up the loose player, and they probably needed one more goal, didn't they?
Yeah, we'll touch on that a bit
during
later
the rundown,
on.
But yeah, it sort of changed the game as soon as we hit the front, and then to get the 10-point break, I thought that we're going to have to really stuff up here to lose this from here. And we had all the momentum at that stage. They played for 3 quarters, we played for 4. And just on Jazzy, we'll no doubt talk about her later as well, her speed of hand to foot to get the kick out, like that goal was a classic example, but she does it all around the stoppages, whereas other players are getting theirs smothered and then it's a neutral ball. She manages to get that metres gained with a 25, 30 metre kick out of a really hotly contested stoppage. It just gives us the territory, and as we know, and particularly in the AFLW, territory's king. When you can't get that loose, free-flowing game, which you can't as much in finals.
It is, and I saw a lot of supporters comparing that Jazzy Garner goal to a bit of Daniel Wells, with just the speed from hand to foot and getting it in, and a very important moment as well in the game.
Yes, and she'd missed a snap earlier, hadn't she? Which was unlike her.
Well, we were saying that ever since they started mentioning the race to 100, her scoreboard impact's just
Which has good
disappeared.
goal.
Yeah.
Pretty much. She's had posters and it hasn't impacted, but who cares? She has did yesterday, and hopefully next week she has a big impact again.
Well, we know she's a big game player, so I have no doubt about that. Right, let's touch on the game. So we'll start with the first quarter where we saw, I think they kicked the first 3 goals in a row, the D's, and it was absolute panic stations. We hadn't seen the defence be under that amount of pressure so far, and we got beaten all around the ball.
Yeah, a couple of outmarked, a couple of uncommon errors like handball receives, dropped, then just brings the pressure, couldn't get it out. Clearly, every time we kicked, they seemed to go, they were playing in front and they'd get the chest mark and send it back in, and they just dominated territory and got the reward. A lot of teams, well, not a lot, but when teams have done that previously, they haven't got the reward on the ball, on the scoreboard, but Melbourne managed to.
Right, I'm going to go PG here, but I started the sort of segment talking about the clown of the week. I want to call it something else, but we'll reserve that for another time. With that Hawthorn player the other day doing the clapping in Alice's face. Well, Eden Zanker's got egg on her face after doing the where to Libby Birch, and then a bit early to do that during the first quarter.
Exactly.
And Libby's obviously a better person than I, because I would have been finding Eden Zanker after the game and probably reciprocating that back to her.
Yes. She who laughs loudest.
Yeah, and we'll touch on the defence as a whole. But yeah, that midfield, they were winning the hit-outs, getting the clearances, repeat inside 50s. Thought some of our star players were off early, outside of probably Jazzy. Lots of fumbles. I thought Emma Carney was huge in that first quarter.
Yep.
As she was throughout the game, but particularly early, showing leadership when our defence was under immense pressure.
Yeah, and Sheeran as well. I thought she had a really consistent game.
And then we just wrestled back the momentum, though, and we saw us respond with 3 goals to reply and get right back into the game.
Yeah, well, which we hadn't been under that pressure really before. The Essendon game was a bit of an outlier because there was a 5 or 6 goal hail going to one end, whereas I don't think there was any wind assistance yesterday. It was just they outplayed us, but we managed to, the important goals coming back. 2 to Bogue, box office, and that important one to Sheeran as well. Just got us back on level pegging, because I was worried. Our back line looked a bit small, a bit fumbly,
A bit slow.
a little bit slow, and been beaten up in the midfield. Like they had the first 4 or 5 clearances, so I just lived in their forward half, and it's just not something we're used to.
No, and you mentioned box office Bogue before. Fantastic game from her, but the streak continues. Every game she's played, she's kicked a goal in, and 2 massive goals in that first quarter for her. That Eiley Sheeran goal you're referencing, there's a moment I want supporters and listeners of this pod to go back and watch. Now, we were very fumbly. Melbourne had good pressure. There was lots of implied pressure as well when we were in space. If you watch back that goal, Amy Smith along the boundary line could have easily fumbled it, and it's a forward stoppage. She's clean, she taps it, she gathers it, gets the ball back into the corridor, and ultimately ends with the Sheeran goal. So yes. I think she's definitely one that flies under the radar a lot, and yesterday I thought she was in our best sort of 6 or 7 players. Yeah,
that's a really good point. So we had a few people who couldn't quite pick the ground ball up even when they had a bit of space, and to keep it alive in the pocket, because they were really, like every team does to us, congesting the forward line. We weren't doing a lot out of stoppages all game until Jazzy finally in the last quarter put the game beyond doubt. And just that goal was so important. To go in virtually level pegging, a couple of points down, was so important. And it would have given the girls belief.
Absolutely, and the Sheeran finish as well, just class. Yeah. Quite often we see in the AFL and the AFLW, opportunities like that squandered, and it's so important in a big final to finish, and that was a really classy finish from her. But the D's, credit to them, they played a really good brand of football, and we saw 7 goals kicked in that first quarter between the 2 sides. I think it was by far the best quarter of AFLW I've seen in terms of free-flowing football, scoring. Although it was against us, if you were a neutral watching that, that's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, because there was still pressure on the ball. It wasn't like when there's 7 or 8 goals kicked and it's all to the one end because the other team is shite. The two quality teams going out. That's what made it a quality game. It wasn't just we've seen. Remember the Sydney first 4 rounds, how they were the best team ever in the AFLW, pretty much, because they were kicking lots of goals and having free flowing, exciting footy against nobodies. Well, this was two teams. Two of the best. Well, we're the best team. Whether we win it next week or not, we're the best team. And Brisbane and Melbourne are fighting for the title of second best team in it.
Oh, I completely agree. And then looking at that second quarter, we kicked 1 goal, 5. The D's just the 1 straight. So we had a lot of time in possession, a lot of repeat inside 50s. We just could not capitalise. But it was a really big moment that we saw with Ash Riddell having that shot. You and I were saying, don't know if she's got the legs, but she went back, vice-captain, and kicked a clutch goal.
Yeah, and really celebrated it because it meant a lot. That was a big momentum turner. Like you said, we dominated, but we couldn't put the impact on the scoreboard. We left a few out there. I mean, you're not going to kick 100%, but there are a couple of goals I think we should have got. Some we didn't even score, and points were handy in the end. Like, it was such a tight game. Could have come down to a couple of points. But, yeah, massive goal from Ash, that one. And I think we'll probably the tall forwards let us down pretty much yesterday. They were well beaten by their opponents. I can't remember the Melbourne girl's name, but she had 5 innocent marks.
Was it Talia Gillard?
I think it was, yes. And we fell into the trap of kicking it long. And look, I'll give them an out. Often they're outnumbered, but we shouldn't be outmarked. We've got to get a fist to the ball and bring it to ground. But that's a negative or a room for improvement, in my opinion.
It's probably the first one we've ever mentioned, to be
yeah.
honest. But yeah, we went in down at half time. The game had sort of changed. The coaches wanted a more defensive. We didn't see that free-flowing football that we saw in that opening term. And that trend continued in the third quarter where it was a goalless term. It was very much an arm wrestle. Both sides getting some good looks, but not being able to convert. Lots of pressure inside opposition 50s. And then we get to that last quarter.
Well, I think just on that, I think we're lucky that Melbourne didn't snag a couple, of the 50-50s and they fall through the goals. They had a couple they'd regret would think were gettable, just like we had a couple. And, going down, what did we go into the last quarter? 1 goal down, roughly?
Yeah, exactly.
If they snag 2 of those with 3 goals down, it's a fair hill to climb, especially with the shorter quarters, the fact they congested the back line pretty well. Like that, you're going to go on to the fourth quarter, so you go on.
Well, I was just going to say before that, like you mentioned people who had impact. Well, the men and women in green certainly did, with the 50-metre penalties being called well, there was plenty of them, wasn't there?
Well, there were 4. And 3 of them were for encroaching in the protected area. And they showed it. I don't normally watch this show, but I watched Offsiders, which is on the ABC, a sports show, on a Sunday morning, and they highlighted them. They did a grid, and they were all there, even if they were Ticky Touchwood. The umpires have to umpire to the law, and they got 2 and we got 1. Or the round of 1. Unfortunately, Talia missed the goal. It was probably about the same range as Ash, and just pulled the kick. And they're the ones who just got to nail to get reward for effort. But we won, so it doesn't really matter. But it's another watch for next week. We've always said we can only really beat ourselves with goal kicking. We don't want a game where we kick, only 20% of our set shots or something, because that'll kill us.
Yeah, well, 16 scoring shots to 11 yesterday.
Yeah, and we had 2 clear misses. We had one from Ruby in the third, where she got a handball received, about 30 out, and missed everything. And Talia had a set shot after a magnificent centre clearance and hit up past from Jenna Bruton, and didn't score. Didn't make the distance, which she should have made the distance, just again pulled it across the face of goal. So it's been nitpicky, but we'll call it out on this pod. We rave on about how good they are, and they are deservedly so. And just like in the men's, when there's areas of improvement, we'll look at it, because I think points was end up after the first quarter being a fairly tight, low scoring game, and even points can be valuable. Obviously, you want 6, but to not score at all just leaves the gate open.
It certainly does. So let's get to that last quarter. And we were right on, as I mentioned at the start, like it gave me great faith to see Croc so calm in that interview, whether it was a bit of a facade or not, but just shows the trust in this group and the confidence to execute. And we started like a house on fire, a few behinds early, but then box office Bogue kicks that magnificent goal. And another one that there's a lot of highlight and focus on the goal, but if you go back and watch, the pick up and handball from Alice O'Loughlin is A+.
Yeah, very, very much so, because the ball sort of played a few tricks with her on the ground, but she still got to it, and clean pick up and release, and the timing of the run from Bogue was perfect.
It was.
And the finish. I mean, we've already talked about goal kicking. She was fantastic with 2 on the run, 1 off the ground, and the long set shot, which was going right through the middle and fell about half a metre short. Like, her kicking was really, really good.
She was just unlucky that it was Taylor Harris that was there and not someone a little bit shorter.
Well, I'd like to see someone a bit of body work from our side on the line. Maybe they did. I don't know. I'll put my hand up. I haven't watched the replay yet, so
No, nor have I.
Looking forward to watching it and with a stress factor at 0 rather than what it was yesterday.
Yeah, well, I was fully intending on watching the replay, but there was a man by the name of Travis Head who took my attention in other directions with the innings he played yesterday. So
we might talk about him a bit later at the end of the pod.
we might.
Because he deserves it. He deserves it.
He does. And then, of course, the goal to Jazzy to put that buffer of 8 points and really started to feel comfortable at that point with this group. I want to talk a little bit about Melbourne because they played a great style of footy. They sort of replicated a lot of the way we go about it. But that last quarter, they shifted their game plan. They started to kick long down the line and play a really slow, dull, boring game of football. Now, I can understand that if they're 3 goals up. But going into the last quarter just a goal up, I thought that was a massive coaching mistake from their team because they had to know we were going to kick at least 1 and we were going to throw caution to the wind. So they had to get scoreboard pressure on and kick goals themselves, and they ended up a scoreless quarter because I don't even know how many inside 50s.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I haven't watched the replay, as I just said, but I can't remember them having a lot of inside 50s. We dominated that 4th quarter, and again, we had a lot of stoppages inside the 50, and because it was so congested, it was very hard for our girls to get it loose. We couldn't get the 1-2 handball release to someone free. We get the 1, then they'd be tackled. You need the quick hands, 1-2, someone, 30 out can have a snap or can, a bit of space to run and have a less pressing shot. But then, as you said before, enter the GOAT. She just do it all herself.
Yeah, well, they held that width well, Melbourne. Like that release handball into space, they'd shut that down pretty quick.
Yeah.
But that last quarter, like some of our, who we know are stars, but aren't quite recognised as highly in the greater AFLW community. I thought Amy Smith, again, magnificent. Tess Craven, her ball use is really important in that last quarter.
Ash had a good 4th quarter.
She did.
She had a pretty good game, but the first quarter was quiet. And she was one they stopped in the clinches, and she get that handball out to space, but they were in the space, so a few turnover handballs where we normally the forward handball we're there. So we were obviously scouted pretty well by Melbourne. Like I said, Melbourne try and play a game similar to ours, and I think Brisbane are going that way as well. So where it's possess the ball, and it's hard for us or any team to pressure if it's just kick, mark. So that's something we've got to be aware of next week.
Kim Rennie, another one who I thought was important, just getting clearance in those stoppages, little tap, and she'd pick it up and just put it on the boot, get it going 25, 30 metres, which is so imperative in finals. You just got to get it forward. You can't play perfect football. Where it, you see other instances where players give the handball and it ends up being a stoppage. Like, get it going, get it moving forward. We've got the dangerous forward line. I thought she was well beaten in the ruck, but those moments around the ground were really impressive from Kim.
Yep. No, absolutely. And it's just a territory game. Like, even go to the men's finals can become a territory game because it's just so hotly contested. You got the best teams going head to head with the best systems.
Yeah.
And that just helps our backline set up with a slower, longer ball having to come in. Like they can set up from when the ball's in our half-forward line rather than coming out of the centre, which it did in the first quarter. And we saw that really put us under the pump.
It did. And then the siren goes with victors by 10 points. There's a big sigh of relief collectively from Arden Street, Icon Park, and then all around Australia as supporters got to join in the chorus and celebrate yet another victory, but a very important one as we go through to the grand final to take on our rivals in the Brisbane Lions, who, as Emma Carney perfectly put, we hate them.
Yeah, we hate them. And we don't we obviously want to win for our own glory, but I said to you, we can't have Brisbane winning everything this year. They've already got the men's. They've got both the men's and women's in the NRL, which I don't follow, but it's still something they can gloat about. And we can't have them winning the AFLW. So
No.
it's all on our girls.
And you famously predicted the 9-peat
Yes.
after our flag last year. And if there's one team that's going to interrupt us, it's not bloody going to be Brisbane, because I hate them.
No, exactly. I'm nervously confident, like I was yesterday. But we saw that we're only human, but all things being equal, we're a better side than anyone else in the comp. So if we bring somewhere near our best, there's not too much interference from outside sources, and that's the whistleblowers or injuries. I think we'll have them covered.
Well, let's get into the votes. Focus on the Melbourne game, and then we'll take another little look at potential team changes in just a moment. But I'll let you have the new ball this week.
Right,
You
in the
get
most
your
prestigious award in all of the AFLW, the Emma Carney Award, I've given 5 to Jazzy Garner. Like that, it was a bit like Trav Ball that last quarter. She just said, "Not on my watch. Follow me. I'll get it done." And she was everywhere, doing the hard stuff, the goal kicking, the leading. I think she had 28 in the end or something like that. But it was that last quarter just really stood up and like it was a bit like Travis Head on the other channel, or a bit later on the other channel, just destroyed them. Oh, sorry, it's the same channel, isn't it? They're all 7. Anyway, I go 4 to Box Office Bogue. 3 goals out of 6. And as I said, that long shot could have almost been 4 goals. And perfect goal kicking, 3 straight. So it's hard to impact fully. But when her moment arrived, she took, playing that position. It's a hard position to play. And she was the only forward who kicked a goal for us. Like all the others were midfielders. So that's how important it was. Her speed and then her finishing just fantastic. For very unlucky to only get the 3 for me was Mummy Muscles, Sharon. Sharon? How do I say it wrong? Sharon.
Yeah, you're right.
She was really good, especially in the first half. I thought she was our best on at probably, quarter time, although Box Office kicked 2 of hers by then. It was between those 2, and then at half time she was very impactful around the stoppages, great tackles. I think the Frog put in the post that she only played 64% game time. Is that correct?
Well, I'll get that.
I'll trust him on his research. He's not normally wrong. So that's the fact she impacted so much with little game time, and hopefully she'll probably get more game time next week.
Sorry, 56% game time she played.
Right, so a little over half a game, and she had that much impact. Fantastic. 2, Emma Carney was another one fighting for best on at quarter time, half time. She was very impactful, gave a lot of run off that half back line. Good ball use, just the normal from her. She was very, very good. And I snuck Ash in for 1. Well, not snuck, I thought she was good. She was quiet in the first half. A couple of, found a bit harder in the clinches. Couldn't really get the run, the 1-2. She couldn't find the freedom. She did a bit in the 4th. But that goal, I'll give her 1 just for that clutch goal when the game was we were near enough, but we needed a goal, and she got it back to less than a goal between us. And a really clutch goal, which we've seen other players miss those, and she nailed it. Over to you.
Yeah, well, mine are quite similar. I also agree that excuse me, that Jazz Garner was the best player on the field. Just having a look at her stats purely from the last quarter, this is where the GOAT and the captains stand up. So 12 disposals, 4 clearances, 2 of those being centre bounce, 242 metres gained, 4 score involvements, and she kicked the 1-goal. So
That's not a bad game.
I know.
For 4 quarters, and that's just the last, when the game was on the line, when it was there to be won.
So she was huge. Like, obviously, finished with 32 disposals, 8 tackles, 7 clearances. Monster game from her. 4 votes, so very nearly gave her 5, and that's Blaine Bogue. 3 goals. She changed the game. Her pace, speed, and ability to finish really set her apart and got us back into the game. So she gets my 4 votes. The 3 votes I also gave to Mummy Muscles, Ailey Sheeran. 18 disposals, 7 tackles, 1 goal, 2, 5 clearances from playing half a game. She was enormous and really stood up. Also gave 2 to Emma Carney. I thought, as I mentioned earlier, she was very important. Ours are all the same so far, but it's about to change.
Yeah, well, we watched the game together, but we didn't collude on the votes. We sent them in to the text hours later, and they're exactly the same. There you go.
Well, they're about to change. But yeah, Emma, huge game. Leadership off halfback, really important. And the 1 vote, I've given to Jazz Ferguson. I thought that was her best game of the year for mine. I thought she was really important down back. Stood up, was calm and composed with ball in hand. Like, you look at her stats, 9 disposals, 3 tackles. But I couldn't give a stuff about stats. It's from what I see and the impact that she had when we were being challenged with repeat inside 50s. And I thought she stood up. I thought Birch had her moments. Erica O'Shea, unlucky not to poll votes. I thought she was pretty good, as was Amy Smith. So
yeah, I agree with all those, and I was genuinely considering Ferg. It's very hard as a full back to get in, but she deserved to get in. So I'm glad you put her in there.
Yeah,
and I agree with all the others who were unlucky. It was a pretty solid team effort. I'd just like a bit more out of the tall forwards. And I understand that they're outnumbered a lot and probably getting blocked, but we can't have too many intercept marks next week because we know teams are then going to try and hold the ball, control it. Basically, they're trying to mimic our style. And Brisbane have got fairly electric players, like small forwards and players over the ground who've got some pace. And I think pace can worry us in some areas. But we need to put pressure on them because they've got a lot of not natural. Well, not a lot. They've got a few not natural footballers who've come from other sports. So if you can bring the pressure, they're not going to be able to dispose of it as effectively as someone who's grown up playing football.
Yeah. We've got some listener questions, so let's dive into them.
This is my favourite part of the pod. You didn't even tell me.
No, and I kept it secret. Lindsay De Souza, I hope I've said that right. Says, Mia in next week, heartbreaking for who will miss. I've got to admit, AGM deserves a spot, but won't happen. Fantastic to see everyone on the list on the ground after the siren. Truly a special group. Wholeheartedly agree, and this leads perfectly into the conversation. If Mia King is fit, what do you see as the change? I'll go first while you can think. I think Emma King misses.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit the same, but I'd like to see the matchups. Because we've got enough midfielders. But I mean, Mia deserves a go. She was she was coming third in the most prestigious when she got her injury and fairly comfortably. And if I remember correctly, she was probably unlucky not to get a few high votes. It's just that we got the 2 best players in the AFLW ahead of her. Like, she was getting 3s, where in any other time she's probably getting 4s or 5s. So if she's fit, match fit, 100% ready to go, she comes in. Who goes out? I think it may be Emma King. King for a king. But they're obviously totally different types of players. But what worries me with Emma is if she doesn't mark it. If she marks it, she's a great weapon because she's generally a good mark, generally taller than opponents. She can use her body and take chest marks, protect the ball. She's generally a very, very good...
The triple threat of generally.
Yeah, generally a very good shot at goal. But if it hits the ground, she's not chasing anyone down. And I think it's going to be... We're going to have a lot of pressure on the ball. And I'm not saying Mia King's going to play that role, but obviously there's a lot of... there's a lot of cards Croc has got to put in different places. And she did a bit of ruck work. Emma yesterday, and I really rate her ruck. Like 5 years ago, she was the best tap ruck woman in the comp, but she's not getting much of a go there. Whether I don't know why. Obviously,
Rennie's the number one.
Rennie's number one now, and taken over that role, and is more mobile around the ground. Probably better in the contest to get that quick kick away, like you said. But yeah, that's the only. I haven't got their team in front of me. I don't know who's there. Can we expose them with 3 tools?
Potentially. We'll have to have a deeper dive into that. But I think that's if there is going to be that change, that's most likely.
The only other one would be everyone holds their spot. I mean, you're not getting Bellaretti's not going out. I'm thinking of like for like with Mia to come in. Jenna Bruton's not going out.
Nope.
So there's someone who'd be unlucky in the back line, like an Eliza Shannon. But I think she's played her role. Yeah, she's had her moments.
We need the height too.
And we need the height. I mean, you could put Sharon down there to play permanently back, and Shannon's played every game. Be hard, but we want to win a cup. That's the whole point is to win a premiership cup, and someone's going to be unlucky, and it could be Mia. They say, yes, you were being our 3rd best player, arguably, but you got injured at the wrong time, and now there's not a spot for you. But I think she'll come in.
It'll be interesting.
This is why they pay Croc the big bucks, and he's a cool customer. So we'll back him in to make the right decision. What do you think?
I think
you said King to start.
I think it'll be King for King if there is that change.
Because I think, Shearlaw can do the ruck, and Shearlaw can go back and play defence if we need it. The only thing, if King's out, I suppose I've answered my own question, if Rennie got injured, we would have Shearlaw doing the ruck.
Yeah, be Shearlaw and Randall.
Yeah.
The George, Tom and Harry show says, how good was Amy Smith in the last? And then he's also put, is it reasonable to expect our men's list there? I'm not certain that they weren't, just because they weren't shown. I know in the game against the Hawks, they were all in a box together, and they didn't get shown, but they were there. We obviously saw Clarko Ladd. He's come back from South Australia. He was there. But I've got no queries with the men's group. They were very big supporters of our girls, and I'm sure they were there. I know a few of them posted to their social media after the win. So
yeah, just because they don't show it on Channel 7 doesn't mean they're not there. And obviously Max Gorn was there, the AFL's love child, so they're going to show him.
Yeah, they're never going to show our boys.
He's probably got another All-Australian lined up just for being on the telly again.
Exactly.
I do like Max.
As for Amy Smith,
not nearly as much as Big X.
Amy Smith was massive in that last quarter. Could not agree more.
Yeah, it's just tireless workhorse and so underrated. Like how she's not in the AA squad. Or, I don't think they even mentioned her or Tess Craven, another one, in the unluckies for the missing out the wing spot.
No, we should have.
She's been well, we should have. Well, they're releasing the AA tomorrow, right? But I'll put this out there now. You take the North girls out of whoever's makes it of the AA squad, and
we're beating them.
The North side is beating the AA squad. I've got no doubt about that.
No,
and it'll be a reminder. I think it was 05 or 03, somewhere around that time under punter when the Aussie 11 played a World 11 and smashed them. And cricket's not as much of a team and system game as AFL. So our girls all playing together that know the system, play a system that works, even when they're under the pump, 3 goals down early in the preliminary, can fight back and win against a team of who half of them aren't as good as our girls, and they wouldn't have time to learn the system. They'd just play as individuals. We'd smash them. I've got no doubt about that.
Well, I have no doubt either.
Yeah. All right. Good. Anyway, good luck to all our girls tomorrow, and probably 2 of them, clearly the 2 best players in the whole AFLW. Wouldn't we love a tie? What have they both won? They tied it. The whatever the award's called.
That'd be wonderful.
We should be calling the Jasmine Garner Award because she is the greatest of all time. So they should name it after her and then present her along with Ash, who are both deserving. I'm sure one will win it.
Oh, you'll hear about it on this pod if they don't. Let me tell you.
It'll be bigger than Big X not getting an All-Australian
don't.
if one of them doesn't win it. Let me tell you.
Kate's postcard, sorry. What do we need to do in the future to get Gillard to North? Well, she's exactly what we need. 190 centimetre or however tall she is. Agile key defender.
Yes.
And she was pretty good again yesterday. She was massive for them in that semi-final against the Crows as well, with a big chase down tackle late in the game.
Yeah, what do? We just get a Croc.
Yeah.
Get her to talk to Croc.
Yeah.
He's the football whisperer. He can just get him across.
He certainly can. A couple more here. Rude Tragic says, what will the Lions have learnt from our game? The Demons implemented a game plan that nearly worked. Lions will be studying that closely.
Well, I think they're playing the same. I didn't watch their game. I had a quick look at the highlights, which can be very deceiving because they're obviously highlights for a reason. And then I listened to his Sasovic's presser, and he basically said he watched Melbourne, he'll learn from them and what they brought. But they're trying to play the same way we do, maintain the ball, and then get the overlap and release quickly when they can, but maintain it. And that way the frontal pressure can't come on because all you can do is go and stand on the mark, and hopefully no one runs around the back in the protected area and give them a free goal. Let's hope Crocker drills down on the rules and all the girls understand it, because just let them run. Because that Bellaretti one, you could see clearly on the vision, she ran behind the mark and her player she was guarding was 30 metres away but running behind the player with the ball. But she went in the protected area. So just let her go. If she receives the handball, all she's doing is a long kick into the forward line rather than giving Kate Hall, their best player, a set shot from 20 metres out. I know what I'd prefer.
Yeah.
I'd back our back line into half the contest and win it.
I think you'll see a different game style with Brisbane, though. I think they'll work the ball similar to Melbourne with short kicks, but once they get forward to centre, they'll release. They've got Courtney Hodder and Ola Dwyer off the wing. They've got a good group of small forwards, which is the big concern for me. Obviously, you've got Taylor Smith and Dakota Davidson as the keys, but
who we really held well last year.
Yeah, but
it's
we usually
speed.
do. It's that speed that'll get us if it's anything. I think so.
Your favourite sisters.
Yeah, the Svarks.
Yeah, they got pace.
They can spark off. Is what they can do. But
you're right. I saw highlights of Hodder. She took a mark and just took off. Thought I've got you covered and just ran like a Taylor Gap would do for us or Erica. So you just and one of the chinks in our backline's armour is probably lack of pace. Take away O'Shea. I think Carney's got really good pace when she's got the ball. Not saying she doesn't chase hard, but I think she's just got the footy smarts, can make a metres gap, go the right way, and they don't catch her. But I don't know if she played in Hodder last time we met.
I think so, correct.
And Hodder was probably their best player, but didn't matter. We won by 5 goals, but that's probably a worry. They're just a couple of their pacey, smaller, medium forwards.
So I think Melbourne obviously had the aerial threats, the tall forwards, whereas I think Brisbane, although their tall forwards are pretty good, they'll look to burn us going back towards goal, similar to what we do at times as well. With the likes of Bogue and AGM when she's in and Bellaretti.
Well, when you're undefeated, people mimic your game style, and that's what they're trying to do. But we've been doing it longer. I think we've got more talent on the list, and I think we'll win. But it's always a 50-50. It's 0-0 when they bounce the ball, and we've just got to bring somewhere near our best, and hope they don't just freak goals on the boundary and a couple of whistles. I think we should win, but it'll be a contest. It'll be like the prelim.
Yeah, it will. And we'll be doing a full-scale preview at a later date, obviously leading up to it as well, which will be good. We can dive into it a little bit deeper. But before we go, we've got to talk about Travis Head. What a knock that was yesterday. Usman Khawaja, I'd be saying go and play as much golf as you want because you're not in the team anymore. Get our man Slug from Snug back in to strengthen up the bowling and the batting. Yep. And I think Travis Head might have found a new position.
Yeah, well, he's opening the white ball stuff. I loved it. And they can't bowl the short stuff at him. Well, they can, but they're just going to waste the new ball if they bowl short at him, because when he comes in at 5 or 6, it's just bring on the quicks and tickle his ribs.
Yeah,
Well, if they want to do that with a new ball, good luck to you, because you're just wasting it.
Yeah, if they want to waste the new ball and have 6 fielders on the boundary,
Yeah.
then go for it. He'll,
And Trav will they're going to bowl, new ball bowling's typically top of off, outside off. That's his wheelhouse. That's where he loves it. And with the fielders up, if he doesn't nick off, which he will occasionally, he'll get us off to a flyer.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, you've got your strength. Webster's a fantastic batsman. You're not losing much there.
No.
And if he nicks off a 5, well, that's what Khawaja would have done anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
More than likely. So I like it, and
I think Khawaja's been fantastic, by the way, but he's too old now. It's time to go. He's lost it. I think against first day of a test against that new ball 145 plus from the bowlers. He's just lost, as they all do when they get older. They just lose it.
I think he hasn't made a score over 90 in 46 innings or something like that.
Yeah,
So
it's time to
his
go.
form was really poor last year.
And we have to hide him in the field because he can't cover the ground. He's a slipper or hide him somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm not as concerned about the field in Test cricket, but yeah, I think he's been a great stalwart of the Australian cricket team, but time to move on, I think. And get
I agree.
Bowie Webster back in there. And the other good thing about Webster is you could put him and Green in the slips cordon, and you got about 6 slips in there. So
all day,
long.
just between the two of them, the wingspan.
Yes, exactly. But no, great to see the Aussies get up 1-0 against the enemy, and weren't they quick to go really quiet on the socials, especially that Barmy Army?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was must-watch, wasn't it? I couldn't take my eyes off it. Yeah, fantastic. It'll probably never happen anything like that again, but I said to you on the group text, it's the most outlandish opening inning I've seen from an Australian.
Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent.
Anyway, we haven't forgotten about the draft. You haven't mentioned that. But
We'll touch on that as part of our preview as well.
we'll do that at a later date.
Because I've got plenty to talk about. I didn't want to put it into like a 5-minute segment because I've got to talk about the new man in Bazza Swaggerman, Lockie Doverson. I want to talk a little bit.
He's straight in, is he?
He's straight in. He's in before he even gets to Arden Street.
Right.
He's just straight in. Arch presented him the Guernsey. Clarko shakes his hand and tells him, I reckon, probably.
Tells him he's in Bazza
Swaggerman.
Well, that's ridiculous because I thought you'd be chief selector, not Clarko.
Well, when you're the chief selector, you got to make others feeling welcome, and Clarko's one that has a bit of swagger himself. So,
Okay. What did it for you?
the haircuts outrageous.
The
The
Malay.
highlights, the Nick Watson plays like me. Going to the casino on Dan Does Footy. There's plenty, but we'll touch on that in a bit more detail as
so
well
he's
as the
straight
other
in.
two.
So for those who are long-term listeners, they'll know the changes. Elvis out.
Daveston and Banch in.
Too. So what are you up to?
Got 4 members, and they're all forwards.
Yeah, no surprise. You got PC, have you?
Yeah, Cam Zerha, Paul Curtis, Zach Banch, and now Lockie Doverston.
Well, there you go. Yeah, but for those long-term listeners will know, the OG group on this pod, the CCC, the Chiefs Competitors Club, got them covered. Got your Swaggerman covered.
Well, I'll give you OG, but I don't know about covered. There is one thing, though, to be serious, that from the men's point of view, I want to talk about before we go. And it was during the week. I absolutely loved the fact that Colby McKercher put it when he was in the media about our aspirations to play finals. Far too long. Well, we know where we're at. We're content rebuilding. Well, it's bloody past. It's go time. So
Yeah.
I loved that he mentioned that in the presser, and he's got a fair bit of swagger about him too, Colbs.
Well, he plays with the most swagger, I'd
Yeah,
suggest.
so
Like,
I
just take the
absolutely
game on.
loved that comment from him, and hopefully that permeates through the group that it's go time now, and we have the ability. We've just got to start learning to win, and as we've mentioned, the first 6 weeks gives us an opportunity to do plenty of that.
Yes, and I mean, we're winding down the year of 2025. What did I used to say? We're in 2025, the Kangas will rise. We rose 1 position. I'm looking for a lot bigger rise in 2026. And no doubt when we come back from hibernation over Christmas, New Year,
I've just thought of one on the
they'll all be flying.
I've thought of one on the rise.
What?
It's on the fly, sorry. in 2026, we'll get our finals fix. There you
All
go.
right.
The Kangas
I
will
like
rise.
it.
But yes, that's us for today. Please remember to like, subscribe. It's the best way to support the pod. Tell a mate about it. Subscribing costs nothing. Helps get our pod out to more people. So hit that red button and subscribe.
And send your comments in, send your listener questions in, because genuinely is the best part of the pod.
Couldn't agree more. We love it. We love our listeners and greater boner community.
Yes, absolutely. All right, until next time, thanks for listening, and KANGAS!
Talk soon, guys. It's another grand final week we can enjoy together. Until then, go Roos!
Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.